case.
I want to make sure you can hear me. How many fingers am I holding up?
Wiggle them louder. You can't go back in the game.
Okay, we're live.
Welcome to October 17th, Fort Scott.
I don't think your mic is on. Is it? There.
Test. Welcome everyone to the Fort Scott Land Bank meeting, October 17th, 2022. Let's start with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we want to do a roll call? Please.
Craig Campbell.
Here.
Robert Kuhn. Yep. Jim Harris. Bailey Lyons.
She's here.
Her cup is here.
Okay. Greg Motley.
Here.
Tim Van Hookey.
Here.
Patrick Wood.
Here. All right. Would you review or have you reviewed the minutes of the the September 19th meeting? Okay. Approval of those minutes. A motion, please.
I move to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
A second, please.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passes. All right. So these are in no particular order of importance. Just thoughts that I had for the land bank meeting today is properties. We had a tax sale on the 13th of October. I understand it went really well, quickly, and we have some new properties for the land bank. Thank you, sir. Oh, I thought you millennials. Oh man.
I don't know how much information you want from the sale, but I'll just kind of give you some of the high points. It was brought in about $87,000. There were three properties that had specials on that were redeemed. They were 1 cent over what the asking price was. So the remaining properties that are not blacked out, I'm sorry, I'm not a very good elementary school person. I didn't draw very well or in straight lines, but those three properties are no longer available, but the rest of the properties did all go to the land bank. And that was expected. Those three properties that actually were pulled off were the three that I thought would sell. I got numerous calls on those, and so I made an assumption that they would sell, and that's exactly what happened. So the other ones, the other parcels that did not have specials on it, they all sold. The cheapest one I think went for $125, and then from there on up.
Does anybody have any questions for Justin?
Yeah. So on this list, which ones? Just the ones that aren't lined out or X'd out are the ones that are all coming to the land bank?
Yeah, the top part, none of those went to the land bank. And then so from that down to the second page, they all went to the land bank, except for the three that are drawn out or scratched out.
So how many total is that? I thought you'd have that on the top of your head.
No, I don't. I'm sorry.
5, 26, 27, 29, 30. Looks like 36.
I would trust that one.
3536, yeah.
So it wasn't quite as many as we were expecting, maybe 41, but there was some redemptions that happened like right up to the sale. So
very good. Do you know if any of these have people living in them?
I'm not aware of any people living in any of these. The one that did have someone living in it, I think, was sold, but it was on the it was taken off the sale.
Yeah.
I mean, it was not party dumped in the land bank. And once again, I can't give you legal advice, but hypothetically, if there was someone living in one of the properties, you would have to go through the eviction process.
Okay. I looked at some of these properties way back. When did we do that? Back in July? Yeah.
Probably.
And I saw a couple that looked occupied. Fortunately, I don't see them on the list.
There were some houses that did have the redemption. The people came in and paid the back taxes, so they wouldn't be on the sale.
Okay. All right.
How do we find out how many that you got service on, or if you got green cards back, or?
I'm hoping I have the job description for possibly having a part-time land bank manager. Half of that, I mean, obviously I can't speak on behalf of the county. I don't have authority, but the money I know is budgeted for $10,000 from the county and $10,000 from possibly, hopefully, the land bank. They have an office set up. I have the job description. Hopefully we can hire someone for that position. And once that person's hired, we can start perfecting your guys' title insurance. And also, just to let you know, I've already started working on the next sale in New Hidden Valley, and then the 2018. We're having a slight delay because of some technical difficulties with the title company. No fault of their own, just going through that process.
Do you suspect that are we waiting on a budget year to start?
January, we'd have to wait budget year. I mean, we could theoretically hire the person now, but the county budget, I can move some money maybe possibly from the general fund with county commissioner's approval, but it's all set January 1 for the county. That's what's been approved.
Well, once I've got the description in hand, then the second half of that equation is going to the city commission, getting on the agenda and approving it on the city side.
So I have just a initial job description for the land bank manager. I'm not saying this is the right way to go. I'm just giving you an idea of what it looks like on my end.
I talked to Josh on the way over here, and he thought that you guys approved $50,000 for this year, or $100,000 for the next 2 years.
Well, we've $100,000 what was budgeted for the 2023 budget. Still, though, I mean, we are creating a joint shared services position with the county. Originally, we had approved, I think it was like a full-time person and like $50,000 a year, which was kind of that the city would pay for, and the county was which was kind of a bitter pill. We've got that down now to this level right here. So since we approved it the one way during the commission meeting, my assumption is with that job description, I'm going to have to go back in because this is now a shared services position.
My whole reason for bringing it up is it'd be great to be able to get someone hired like
sooner.
Next week, tomorrow.
Yep.
And if you add up that, we're looking at less than $4,000 probably until the end of the year.
Yep.
So rather than wasting the next 2.5 months, if we could.
Well, what I'd like to do is,
motion and get something going.
I don't know, with not having that yet, if I can get that on the agenda for tomorrow night's meeting, but I should absolutely be able to get it on the agenda for the first meeting in November.
If you want me to hand this out, I can. I didn't want to interrupt the.
Yeah, I'm with you. I want to get it done sooner rather than later, but there is a process that has to be done. A vote has to be taken, and I don't see an issue with that vote, but
you can just bring it up in your comments, can't you?
I can bring it up in my comments, but I would like it to be, it won't be voted on. I'd like to have it on the agenda, Jeff, for November 4th, and you'll have a copy of that document. Can you still hear us, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We'll give that to Brad. You want to give this to?
I got one.
Okay.
Hey, Justin, can I just clarify that our list starts with FS 07276?
Yeah, the 411 Osmond
Yeah.
is when
That's the first one.
first one.
Okay. Very good.
I'm sorry this wasn't more technically done, but just time.
And then you said not that it applies to the land bank, but there's going to be another cell for like Hidden Valley Lake.
We're going to have our goals 2 sales for sure, and possibly 3, and the third sale would be the 2019, and then for all intents and purposes, we're caught up. I mean, it'll be 2023 next year, but we can still send the demand letters out and hopefully have some people pay on 2020. But for most residential, it has to be more than 3 years, and 2 years for commercial.
Justin, I don't see anything on here in terms of working with the title.
I have no relationship, legal relationship with title. All I can guarantee.
I understand,
is the
but the job description should be the
I'm
land
sorry,
bank.
on this, I thought you were talking this list. Sorry,
No,
switched over.
no, the land bank manager.
Yeah, no, actually, if you're reading here, it's assumed, the vacant, abandoned, tax delinquent, unutilized, it's part of the process. You gotta have the title company, and they're gonna have that experience to be able to dealing with real estate and acquisitions of sale.
I'd recommend we be more explicit
Sure.
so that the person has that expectation.
Sure.
That'd
I
be
mean,
great.
This was just a rough draft, but I can actually include that.
Please.
And I think I might have your email, Tim. I can just get it to you.
Yes.
and have that ready for the November meeting. Sorry, I switched lists on me. I'm sorry about that.
Craig just did that to me. I should have known better. I got in trouble.
Does anybody have any questions or concerns about the job description, other than adding the specifics about the title company?
Nope. I do think that's an important item to make sure we've got on here.
I think, just to talk out loud, the person can absolutely help an attorney clear the title. That person's going to be unable to clear the title unless they're a licensed lawyer in the state of Kansas. So, obviously, as long as I'm county counselor, and you never know the political environment one day the next, but as long as I'm county counselor, my goal would be to help that person, work with that person to help with the tax sale and also help with the title part. But at some point, this committee is going to have to make a decision on either having the city attorney or having an outside legal person help you all with that. You're going to need a licensed attorney to help with the title issues. So that's for another day. I don't think we're there yet. I think the new land bank manager should come in and present that to you all when that time comes. So maybe that's why I put that on. I'm thinking that through.
I would ask, since the codes folks are here, and thank you for being here today. Did you get a copy of the sold properties? Because I'd be curious to know. I know that we've got, I think at least says 9 structures that notifications are going to be included in tomorrow night's meeting of homes. I'd like to look at the list that we have that we're going to approve to move forward with, to see if any of those are on this list of the 9, Thomas. So if you get a chance tomorrow sometime and can let me know before the meeting when I get here, how many of these ones that we've assumed are on the demo list.
Yeah, because
Are you talking to the new ones? The new ones that you just received?
yes,
Yeah.
Okay, the only one that's on there is 14 Parker. It's on the demo list.
Okay, so for tomorrow night's commission meeting, when we're voting on those, there's only one on this list of new properties then that are on our current list. Okay.
That's a 14 Parker.
Yep.
So that house is on the west side of the road there.
Yeah, I think it's actually sandwiched pretty tight in between 2 houses, and it's had the red tag on there for some time. Yep. Yep. Although the only downside to that lot is they're so tight together. I don't know that you'd ever squeeze anything as far as building something back in there between them, because those 3 houses right there are packed pretty tight.
Especially in the school area, that'll be a little cleaner.
Yep.
Norman, I've got 501 North Coates. And I've got it with a structure and posted. But it's not on this current year's demolition. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it definitely does need demo, but not enough money to demo that this year.
Okay. I think that's all I've got on that. I did the east side in July and made notes, and Bailey did the west side and made notes. My biggest concern is now getting structure secured, making sure that access can't be granted.
And once again, I can't give you legal advice, but the sheriff's deeds usually take 30 to 60 days. I mean, you technically own the property, but obviously the deeds won't be transferred for minimum 30, maybe hopefully 60. I did talk to Laura Holdridge's office today, and we're going to try to accelerate those to get those done. Just FYI, you don't technically really own them until the deed's there, but you can go in and secure them. But just ownership is 9/10 of the law, I guess.
Possession's 9/10 of the law.
Yeah, ownership.
Ownership might be more than
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's kind of you think we got my joke.
So, Brad or Jeff, what do you think
Yes.
what do you think we should do with these structures that are on the list?
How many structures do we have versus lots do we have? Roughly.
I'd have to marry up my list, my old list, to this list.
While you're looking at that, I'm going to switch back to the job description.
Okay.
So, who is going to do the hiring and onboarding of this person, finding them space, domicile, getting them business cards? Who's doing logistically all that?
The office will be located. I mean, the office will be located in the county courthouse. The commissioners have deemed an office that would be adequate, and the reason that's there is to actually do the title, help with title work. It'll be close to the deeds office, so they can actually go back and forth and have that. The telephone system, the computer system, everything will be provided by the county. We could get the business cards printed.
Okay.
So that's basically.
So who's hiring? Who's doing the hiring?
I believe, and please don't misquote me on this. I mean, obviously you would have ultimate authority. This board would have ultimate authority, but I think one of the candidates I talked to would like to have the county commission be the hire and firing, but that's up for discussion. I don't.
Yeah, I think we'll have to discuss that.
The city commission. Okay.
And we have other shared service agreements where there is a contractual relationship on who has the ultimate authority. But I mean, obviously, if this board came down to the commissioners, it's either commission, city, or county. I'm making assumptions again, but if this commission said we don't want this person anymore, I don't think the commissioners at the county level would keep that person out of spite.
I believe our information we were given to start with said we have the authority to hire and
Yeah,
fire.
no, I totally agree. I'm just saying that if
Like,
that
without
you have, I don't think you guys have the ability to run payroll though. I don't know if you have an EIN. I mean, that's I'm not trying to complicate it. But
but it could be, it can be worded somehow.
yeah, exactly.
Because I would hate to have all of us sitting around here are just fine with that person, or maybe the opposite. Maybe we're not. And then, but whoever the county says, no, you're not getting rid of them because
Right.
we like it.
No, I mean, there's language we can put in the shared service agreement that would give you the ultimate authority, but they have to be an employee of the city or the county.
Yeah,
I don't
kind of like probably like what we do with our tourism director.
Yes, or you do with your technology and
Yeah,
yeah. We had a lot. It worked really well with the EMS. That's no longer that way, but we could easily do a shared service agreement like we had with the EMS, where one of the boards has to be the primary employee because you have to run payroll through it.
Yeah. And I may bounce that off of tomorrow before the meeting. I'll get with Bob Farmer as well from the city side.
It just makes a little sense because of the space that the county is going to have. We actually have an office we've got cleared out and ready to go if that becomes.
No, I like that idea. That's one check mark off of the list. They were many check marks. But
And will you, the two commissions work to see if there's any possibility of starting the person sooner rather than later? Or is that just kind of a non-starter? We're so close now that it's
We
not relevant.
are, but you know, we do have fourth quarter budget that we're trying to really keep things, and I think Brad can speak to that. We're trying to be very diligent and fiscally responsible to meet the goals that we have as far as the remaining budget for this year goes. That's something that we would just have to look at with Jeff and the finance folks as far as starting anybody sooner than the first of the year.
I'd look at when you approved the funding, what year was it coming out of?
Well, we approved a budget for 2023.
So
But
you
there,
won't,
our land
yeah.
bank funds that we've gone through to this year, I think initially we were given like $5,000, of which there's not much of that left for 2022. So to Patrick's earlier question about, well, would that be what, $3,000 or $4,000? I don't think that's even in there for
Well,
for the
that's
remainder of this
fine,
year.
but what are we gonna do for 2.5 months is my
Well,
issue.
part of it just kind of a, when it's been an administrative thing, I'm not trying to push the can down the road. I'm absolutely, totally advocating for as fast as we can get started, but we do have the title, the deeds still need to be done. I mean, there's still some legal work on the back end that it's gonna take. I mean, the minimum we get it done is 30 days. So you
But
really
we also have properties on
Sure.
our books right
Yeah.
now.
I understand.
There's all kinds of prep work that we can be doing ahead of that. But I don't see, if we don't have that person in place, why are we even meeting? Why meet? If the county can't and the city can't come up with $2,000 apiece for the next 2 months,
I have no authority or no, I don't have the budget knowledge I used to have. I have no idea.
I'm not saying no, we need to ask, we can look at it. I can't sit here today and tell you absolutely we will start it next week. Gotta find that out. Now that we've got the job.
It's not,
And we've got the list of crops.
Can I, as the treasurer of Land Bank, can I get an update on what we have available? The city's holding that money right now?
yes.
Yeah.
yes,
Jeff, we can provide that, correct?
Well, I mean, I don't know
What's
what my
it-
role is.
Absolutely, we can provide that. That's information that goes to the commission, and it's public information, and we just have to highlight it. I think what I hear everybody saying, I mean, we may be able to do the funds, but we still have a little bit to go work on as far as the job description and who they're reporting on. But we can move on it. You know, here we are. We're into November, and then I would take it that we're advertising for this position, and so there's just, I think the point was made. There's just a little bit of legwork, but we can look at the funding, look at the job description, do all of that, and you know, I think we could have that all taken care of in the next, 3 weeks to 4 weeks. That's just me. But yes, to answer your question, we can get that for you. I was looking at that the other day. How much money is in that fund?
Thank you. I'd love a little more specifics at some point. It doesn't need to be this meeting, but as to what the role of the treasurer is on Land Bank, because if we're running everything through the city and I don't have a clue what we're spending, or I assume we're not taking anything in, but I don't feel real comfortable holding a treasurer position and not having any idea.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we can run you a little report or what have you, keep you up to date.
Thank you.
And in addition to the balance that's left, Jeff, we ought to be able to pull exactly what the expenditures were out of that so far.
Right.
As well.
Right. I asked for that. In fact, I just got a report on that. And as you know, we're wrapping up the third quarter. So this is a good time.
Let me look a little bit closer after this and get with Devin, but it looks like 3,500 is what we have in it. And
Yeah.
that's from 9/30 of 22. So I mean, just let me make sure that's correct, though.
Yeah, if somebody could just send me a report with the expenditures that have been paid out and what we have left, I'd.
Okay, so there's 3,500 roughly. I'm not gonna hold you to it.
Thank you.
But, so if we're going to do all the back end work, you're gonna talk to everybody tomorrow and vote on the 4th. Could we potentially have somebody in place, like, as soon as it's voted on after the first?
I always hate saying, I always have to say this because of my license. I always say I can't give you legal advice again, but it's best practice to publish. You want to at least have it open for 7 days minimum. So you're at that point after November 4th, you're into the 13th or 14th, and then the process. I mean, obviously, I think you guys would do the interviews. That's my humble opinion. You guys would.
Well,
do
we can
the
have a
hiring.
special meeting for that or something.
Sure.
But, so Brad, do you think with that change that Greg asked for, this is good enough for you to, or who's gonna put it out?
Hey, we can
We
put
have
it
to-
on our
we-
portal,
County,
and it goes to Indeed, and it goes to, and then whoever wants to interview them can. I mean, that's. I think that's
County
okay.
can publish too, and they're on our website. That it's a dual. I mean, the one thing we don't have in place yet is the joint agreement between the city and the county, and also this board to have it funded. I don't know enough about the budget, but it sounds like the $100,000 is coming to this board next year. So really, it'll be, and I make another assumption that the $10,000 would, just like we had with other agreements, is have the payroll dump into whichever one wants to pay it out and go from there. So it would just be reimbursement. We used to have kind of some trade outs, but with this case, it wouldn't work that way. I don't think we can have.
So
happens.
potentially we got 2 weeks, right, until the 4th. Is that enough time to do everything we gotta do?
I'd have to go with Mr. Farmer and get the joint service agreement signed. It has to be signed on the 4th. We can get something, depending on, I gotta make the one change in the job description, and once you guys approve the job description, and then on the 4th, we could have the joint agreement done.
And we can, just, if we can get it out to the commissioners sooner than that, though, I'd like to be able to take that vote on the 4th, so
Right.
then we can definitively move forward.
Let's approve this today, recognizing the amendment.
Does this need to say something about in working with the land bank board or upon approval from the land bank board or something to that? You would know the legal terms, but that person in and of themselves does not have the wherewithal to acquire real property. You know,
I can put
some of
through-
these.
Yeah, I can put, I mean, basically just helping, I can put, all I can change it all to the land bank board.
Or as a representative of or something.
Brad, does the city have any candidate testing tools that they use? We certainly want to run candidates through that.
I would definitely do a background check, and we can send something through there.
Do they have some personality or aptitude test to make sure that they're
We do, yes.
okay? Good.
Yeah. Like I said, we've got a portal that we put in. It goes directly to Indeed, Monster, all those, and then the applications come right to me, and I can share them with whoever's going to be the one that interviews or whatever you want me to do. Okay. And then once they're hired, you can do the testing, or you can knock it down to the top 3 or whatever criteria you want to do.
So I'd recommend that we have a land bank board member kind of be a liaison between the city, county, in terms of the hiring process, so we can keep it on track and get the process of testing and interviewing started as quickly as possible when all the logistics are ready, so that we just have a person who says, okay, now we can start moving forward, and a point of contact for Brad when resumes come in. So.
I'd definitely put it on the county website, city website. I'd just blast it wherever you could.
Okay, so who's that person going to be?
Pat's got the biggest burr under his saddle.
I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
good with that?
And then
Okay.
once you narrow down candidates, I assume we would, at that point, all be involved in some kind of at least a final round of yes, or are you
I'd
thinking-
recommend 2 levels, maybe 2 people in the first round, just to screen candidates, and then a broader board for a final interview. The first round, we can look at testing, look at applications, testing results, and then they can screen it down to 2 or 3 or 4, and then the full board can take a look at those candidates and suggest that process.
Do we need to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right.
Who are the people? I'm sorry.
Pat
Who are
Wood.
the people?
Mr. Wood here.
Mr. Wood, and was there 2?
Not yet.
Well, you're it. Okay. I have a question, if I might.
Sure.
The land bank, when it was being established when I was here, is the land bank within the city, or is it a city county within the city and the county?
It's actually independent of both, correct?
Does it have a territorial area or anything?
City limits.
City,
It's
within
city.
city limits, but independent of
You're right. It's an independent board.
city or
Okay.
county government.
Yeah, it's a separate. Yeah, but it's okay. But it's within the city. Thank you.
All right, and
Chairman, I at the very end, I need to address the board about another issue that I'm the liaison for the county, but I'll step back and wait until the end to have that
okay.
discussion.
yeah, just real quickly, for the current land bank properties, I got a request from the county to officially request tax exempt status for those properties, and I have penciled in Thursday with Laura Holdridge and Matt Quick. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do, but they have promised to guide us through that process. I think Rob did the title work, the deed work with the county.
That's one of the 2 things I'm supposed to bring up. But that's number 1. Yeah, you'll get walked through the process.
Okay. So we between travel and and holidays last week, we scheduled this Thursday to meet. And if anybody would like to join me, I'm fine with that. But we'll be at the county courthouse at some point Thursday. Was that it, really?
I have one more.
So that we're not spinning our wheels, I would like to make a motion to approve the job description pending the amendments we've already spoke about. Then there'll be no need for us to re-meet about that. Be something off of our plate.
I'll include working with the title company to clear title, and then I also, Brad brought up an interesting point. We got rid of our residency requirement at the county just because we're trying to get as as many qualified candidates as we can. But if you want a residency requirement, I can put that in there too. Has to be living with the city limits of Fort Scott or Bourbon County or whatever.
And this is going to be a part-time
Yeah, it's
position or a full-time position?
part-time.
Robert, can we amend your motion to say that Tim has final authority to approve the job description?
Absolutely.
Just delegate that to him.
I just don't want us all to meet again and delay. I'm in Pat's corner about this. I want to see this start sooner than later.
So if you're good with that amendment, go ahead and make it.
So
I don't think for a part-time position that we put the residency requirement on there, but that's just my opinion. I
Yeah,
think the qualifications at this point are more important for us to get this up and running the right way than.
I agree.
so I amend my motion to reflect that Mr. Mackey will
A final.
give the final look over and approve it for the board.
I second.
Any discussion? Greg Mel.
I would like to amend it just to one thing, since Patrick is our point person, I think that I'd like to amend it that Patrick and myself will look over all of those four.
Agreed?
Yeah. Do we need to second that? Rules of order?
You know, I think you can have the authority, but you can have Pat look it over. Yeah, okay.
Because then if we go south, I go back.
Yeah. We're gonna blame Pat anyway.
It's all.
No, I don't think we need to amend the motion. I think we can just vote.
Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. That's all I've got.
Second point, that I'm here, and this is official business of the county. There is the, I believe it's on Clark Street, the building right to the straight west of the old SRS building, where that's currently owned by the county. I think the SWAT training has actually occurred at that house. We would really like to be able to move forward on that donation from the land bank to the county. There is plans to turn that area into a parking lot, but also include some amenities like a pocket park, which has like basketball goals or things like that. But we'd really like to get that demoed. Obviously, the cost of the demo and the dumping fees and everything would be on the county. So just put that in, guys, in your quiver or whatever. We'd really like to get that done soon because it is a nuisance and also a danger, and all the costs associated with the demolition and tear down and everything would be on the county.
What 100 block of Clark Street?
It's 201 South of Crawford.
Crawford.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, 201 South Crawford.
The one
Two-story
that
yellow.
We already have talked about.
I'm aware of the Crawford.
And-
Clark.
I'm gonna have to refresh my memory, but where were we at with that last? What was our choosing there? I think one of the things we were waiting for the proper application.
Well, Susan brought
We
the
do have
application
a
up.
proper
approved it
application.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
But
thought
there-
that as well.
yeah. What we don't have is clear title, marketable
We'll
title.
We'll take care of that too.
Okay. Okay, so now, we have a note on, minimum of $1,000 is the suggested. I'm not saying that, and then, 30 days notice, by putting a sign out. What, you know what your time frame is?
Did we not ever publish that one?
I thought you already published that one.
That was one of the first ones we ever talked
Back
about.
when Diane was still here, we kind of had to hit the brakes because we said you have to publish it for at least 30 days.
What
Not that
we-
Diane had already-
Pittsburgh does not publish ahead of time. They publish after they have sold a property. They publish then, but they do not publish when they list a property. I think what we have in the bylaws or not, or in the rules, is that we will put a sign up for 30 days to give everybody the chance to understand that property is for sale.
Can we approve it and still put the sign up for 30 days?
I would think we
Which
could.
is similar to what you were saying a minute ago about, they approve it and then they put a sign up for 30 days.
Sure.
What does that do at that point? I'm
I don't know,
confused.
we need to check with Pittsburgh because I remember asking that question, and I'm pretty sure she said that we can sell it. We can sell it
She
that day.
She did, but what does putting a sign up after you've sold it? I'm not
No,
wrapping my
not
head
not
around
after
that.
we sold it. She posts it in the paper after she sells it.
So she takes a contract on one and then she publishes for what? For
Uh,
anybody to,
If I
Test it.
understand the process, it's so that anybody that has an objection can become involved.
but she's already accepted a bid at that point. So she's not trying to drum up any
No,
more competitive bids.
No. She's just looking for somebody that has a right to it that was not previously informed, is my understanding.
So this is a title issue, not a.
Right.
But she does advertise her properties before she takes contract
Just with the
on
sign.
Oh, yeah,
With the
yeah,
sign.
with a sign
and website.
and website. They have an interactive website, reds and greens for what's available and what's not.
So, I mean, once again, I'm in an awkward position because I'm always in an awkward position. I'm advocating for the county commissioners through Susan and myself to have the ability to donate properties from the land bank to another governmental entity. I mean, obviously, we're going into a relationship with the city to help with the land bank, but I have no authority to buy that property for $1,000 is my assumption. Government to government. type thing.
I'm pretty sure we already voted once. We could go back and look in the minutes, but I think we voted, since they were gonna do the demo, they were gonna take all responsibility. I think we voted to just.
I thought we did
Sign
too.
it.
I thought our holdup was something, was Susan trying to apply for some kind of a
Grant.
grant or something,
That
and
was
she
what it
didn't,
was.
she couldn't apply for that grant without being able to say that they owned it. And I think that was our holdup. Otherwise, I think everybody voted in favor of it. Am I remembering that wrong?
That is accurate.
That is correct. We would appreciate the ability to transfer ownership as soon as possible. We really want that torn down. There's a critter issue. It's really the cats and varmints and raccoons and things like that.
I just
So
have to get the plywood back to the county.
we can take care of that too.
Okay.
We'll
That's,
make
that's
sure-
their plywood.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get the plywood returned back to Road and Bridge.
There you go. If we're not violating any rules, I would make a motion that we allow the transfer of the title as soon as the paperwork can be done.
I'll second that motion.
We did too.
So,
With that information, I'll have the title done here soon.
Maybe it'll take the second time.
With a note that we're waiving the minimum because it's government to government, just to set, like, if we could put that in the,
government to government,
Minutes.
and they are going to incur the
and
cost
they are
of
going
demo.
to take on the cost of demo. They're accepting it without clear title. And you will, what's a reasonable time frame that you'll clear title?
Well, if we have to go through the publication process and actually go through the court system, it could be a while. But if we take it on with the understanding that it doesn't have clear title now, we can ensure that it's going to happen. I mean, the government lasts forever. I mean, if it takes 20 years, it'll take that long. I mean, I'm being facetious.
Well, that and you promised
Extreme,
us a
but-
basketball court over there too.
Well,
so-
something like that, depending on how the grant, if we get the grant. the way
Tomato
we're hoping.
plants.
But they're called, I mean, it's basically a glorified parking lot with amenities attached. And it's a perfect place for that because it's a neighborhood with kids. And we've talked about a practice tennis ball shield thing. I mean, please, backstop, thank you. And possibly some basketball goals. But we need it for parking.
I make a motion to approve that again with that, the reasons why we're waiving the minimum in the minutes.
Yeah, I think all we gotta do is give Justin go ahead.
Right. And I'll go to the commission on this. They need to approve the acceptance of it, and I'll have the paperwork ready by the next commission meeting, which isn't tomorrow, it's the next Tuesday. So we appreciate that. We'll put it to good use.
Thank you.
And we'll save the
Thank you.
taxpayers of Fort Scott some money from the demo fees.
Sounds like a win.
Okay.
Do we need to motion just to let him go with it?
Yeah.
To do that.
So
Mhm,
any
and to note it in the minutes why we were waiving the
waiving the
minimum.
demo fees, or the
The
other waiving
minimum.
the minimum, sorry.
I'll second that then.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
And the commission is grateful. Thank you.
Real quickly, anything from the codes department that we can address? You good? Okay, appreciate you guys being here. Jeff or Brad, is there anything that the city has on their agenda? Okay. All right, well, we will continue to move this thing forward. I think the anticipation is when we get a manager, things will really happen much quicker than they are now.
Can we set some kind of a time frame expectation for moving forward with the manager? Like,
Until I get that final agreement from him, that I can then take into the city commission, because they're gonna have to pay their portion of it. And I wanna get it done by the 4th of November. But he acted like it would not be a problem to send that to me my email. I'm gonna look it over. I'm gonna email Patrick so he can look it over. And I'm gonna talk to Lisa and to Jeff Hancock and say I would like this on the agenda for the 4th.
so that's the goal.
We'll find out how much money is left. Jeff is going to get that information. Brad had told you thought it was $3,500, and we should be able to make a decision on can we fund it for the rest of the year based on what is left. That's the time frame we're looking at right now, is to get it on the agenda for the 4th.
For the 4th.
Post November 4th, we have a special meeting.
Well, once it's approved, then you're going to have to go through your interview for the person, and then depending on
So
It may
why
not be.
why can't we interview prior to that?
Well, you can. I mean, I'm not seeing any reason why the city commission
Prior to-
all would deny
Prior.
the motion to do it, but technically it's not approved until a vote's
Well, we
made.
probably shouldn't interview for a position. We don't have, secured funding or approval to hire.
Yeah.
I think that would be bad practice.
So, moving at the speed of government, I mean, unfortunately, there is a process.
But you have to think about the applicants, Pat. You don't want to get people's hopes up and then
Yeah.
hurry up and wait. So I would
And-
wait till it's official before you start interviewing, because that's people's lives.
Yeah. And in theory, the money that we have left over, that 3,500, then would cover salaries to the end of the month, at the end of the
No.
year.
No, was that what you were thinking? You were?
I was thinking that would be part of it.
Because right now you're saying it's 40-some hundred today to fund
And
the end of the year.
that's just rough numbers. That doesn't take into account payroll tax
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
We are at mowing season. Probably not done mowing any houses before then. I think it's a fantastic idea.
Well, we're not, but I know the city is getting.
Yeah,
them on
But
that.
at our expense.
But on that budget, we are.
Well, there's one house in there that is on the land. 410 South Parkway.
Is that expected to be taken out of our budget? I thought we had
under-
already established that until we finalized all of this, that the city, I believe Kelly said that in a
That's
previous
how it's
meeting.
been at this point, and I have not been told of any changes regarding that. But, again, I will work personally to get the process moved through the commission as quickly as possible, but the i's have to be dotted and the t's have to be crossed. It's that simple.
So on that Margrave property, is that to be demoed by the end of the year? What's the time frame on that?
12/6 is the public hearing date for people to come in.
Yeah, and then they've got so many days after that.
Yep.
We're probably actually reality look at the first year before they.
With holidays.
So
and-
if the expectation is that that comes out of our budget, we need to be made aware
I
of that.
don't think it will because it hasn't to this point, but,
It's sweet, so our budget is, what money potentially is there isn't a concern for demo and it's not a concern for mowing right now. We're out of that. Not that something's all with the rise, but I'd say that Pat's on track, we're definitely in a position where we can start some of that,
Yeah.
especially if we start in November.
Yeah.
The year's far enough to account for some holidays and the part-time employee.
and they can start with what we already have, but keep in mind, Justin was saying that on what we've just picked up, it could be 30 to 60 days or more before we get the title work from them.
Is this gonna be a salary or hourly position? It doesn't? That I see? Yeah,
Well, we did
benefits.
that authority.
My thought is that it's going to be exempt because there's going to be times when you're going to be working a lot more hours and flex that, like around the tax sale. I mean, this document just created somebody a lot of work that needs to be done sooner rather than later.
It'd almost be better to be a contract. Part-time.
Because I think the amount of money has been established as far as what we were looking at from the city and what we were looking at.
Right.
So I think you have to be non-exempt.
Yep, he'd have to keep track of his hours.
For her hours. His or her, yes.
They.
You are sitting.
Hey, when you do post it, I would probably post it for a week. And then you do your interviews, that's another week. You said 2 rounds of interviews, so that's 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. And then depending on the status of the person, if they want to give 2 weeks to their previous employer, now you're close to
January 1st.
yeah, you're close to the end of the year.
If we get somebody hired by January 1, that would be good.
Anybody have any other questions, concerns? Motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Any opposed?